皆さんこんばんは、たっくんです。シャーロックホームズチャプターワン続きからやっていきたいと思います。はい、というわけで最後ね、また前回お話をクリアして、また新しいお話の導入ぐらいで終わりましたね。で、その時届いた荷物に入ってた衣装に着替えたホームズさんです、これは。で、これだね、捧げられた子羊、こっちに今回から来ましょう。グランドサライ地区北部コルドナ修道院の向かいのターコにあるカートマンチョスの邸宅で君を待っている。グランドサライ地区北部のコルドナ修道院。グランドサライ地区の北部にあるコルドナ修道院っていうのはどこにあるんだ？あ、これか。まずこっち行くか、じゃあ。ここへ来て、向かいのターコにある。ターコってなんだ？コルドナ修道院の向かいのターコっていう通りなのか。ターコにある邸宅？この広いのがそうかな。ここ行ってみようか。大体こういうのは金持ちの家に呼び出されてんだろうから、敷地面積の広いとこ行っとけば間違いはないでしょう。めちゃめちゃ裏口通ってきたな今。これがそうかな。ああ、このお屋敷っぽくない？ああ、マンチョス邸で合ってるわ。うわあ、みんな。
Welcome, sir. I do hope you enjoy yourself.
そういう仮面舞踏会的な。
Enjoy the evening, sir.There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
なるほどね。関係者はみんなこういうのを。わあ、すごい。目隠しでピアノ弾いてる。
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite? My goodness, Sherlock, they made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Gahor, is it a guess?
すごいな。もうどんどん想像とはいえすごいことになってきてるな。あら。
Sherlock, friend, I wasn't sure you'd come.
せっかくこんな格好してるのに名前呼ばれちゃったらバレるじゃんね。
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course. Something to smoke. Or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual. A potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
そんなものに意味はない。
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything could improve it. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
めちゃめちゃ薬進めてくんじゃん。必要な
I'm
い。
perfectly capable of coping with myself without medical assistance.
Then I shall press you on it no further. But please do not refuse my gift. Take it with you as a souvenir of this special night.
Souvenir of what exactly?
大丈夫なの？そんななんか持ってるだけで捕まる薬物だったりしない。
Our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
祭壇室。
Altar room. What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
祭壇室って何？儀式かなんかしてるわけ？どこにあんの？祭壇室。あジョン何してんのそんなとこで。
Nancho's had to enforce the masks after the scandal.
うわ聞き耳か。祭壇室。もうここはあれだね、表で意気投合した男女用のビップルーム的なお楽しみ部屋になってるわけね。まあジョンか。あ、こっち行けるよ。うわー、死んでる。
My God. Was he
祭壇
here
だ
this
か
whole
ら
time?
生贄始まったね。唐突だね。
This crude tattoo partially covers as slave branding.
奴隷の印。このご時世に。
This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood.
これは何かが
The
巻きつい
dagger
てる
is
ね。
heavy and sharp, but lacks balance.
ダガーか。
This golden handle has a blood stain on it.
儀式用のダガー。
A blunt-force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage.
鈍的外傷ってことはなんかで殴られたみたいなことかな。
The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it.
生きたまま寝っ転がされて刺されたんか。
The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. He died right here.
そうね、死んで運ばれてきたっていうよりも、ここに寝転がされた状態で刺し殺されたっていう感じっぽいよね。これは血で
An
汚れ
open
ている。
wound spoiled the carpet.
これは何？
Why don't people tidy up
うん
after
ち。
themselves?
タバコだ。
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion.
まだあれだね。水差しが火がついたまま灰皿に乗ってるね。
Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not so sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened.
なるほどね。中身が入ったお酒の瓶で殴られたってことか。うん。喫煙室。ここは招待客が隠れて快適にタバコを吸うための部屋。絨毯に血が落ちてできた跡がある。血で汚れたワインの瓶が床に落ちている。
The wounded person was here for some time.
うん。
A bloody handprint on an armchair.
あとなんか見れるもんある？こっちか。
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
右手の手形かな。ああ、こっちも行ける。
Identical to the robes the guests
濡
are
れた
wearing.
手形。衣装室なんていうのもあるのか。
This is a different ritual.
儀式の筋書き。発見した何らかの儀式の筋書きの冒頭に文言が書かれていた。文言の内容は次の通り。この儀式を読んで練習しろ。マンチョス。母なるガイアの象徴である裸の女性が祭壇に敷かれた花の上に横たわる。儀式の信仰者は儀式用の油で女性を塗り、女性の内なる豊穣を目覚めさせる。参加者たちはこの瞬間に栄唱し、母なるガイアを喜ばせる男を呼び出さなければならない。そして生命の摂理が具現化した存在である男は女性とちぎりを交わすのである。儀式のやり方みたいなことかな。カートのメモ。マティスタ、お客様を無視するな。そして彼らを退屈させないように。彼らが興味があるのはお前のたわごとなどではなく、美しいお前が彼らにどれだけ奉仕できるかということだ。お前がここにいるのは命を賛美するためだ。忘れるな。お客様はお前と時間を過ごすために大金を払うのだ。カート。
How can anyone accept such behavior?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal.
演者たちっていうのは何の演者なんだろう。
Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note.
手作りのカフスボタン。
Manchos.
マンチョスからファビオっていう人に送られたのか。
Would you recognize me in one of these? I suppose not.
あとなんだろうな。鍵
The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me.
F って書いてあるね。
The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
なるほどね。ファビオさんはここに鍵を置きっぱなしだったってことか。
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
これがさっきそこにかかってなかったローブかな。あー、なるほどね。あ、なんか人がいるよ。さっきのあれか、芸術家の人か。ここでなんかそういう具体的なものをやる予定 だったの
This
かな。
elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger.
あるいは本当に何か儀
The
式を
ointment smells mouse-like.
する予定だった
I
のかな。
presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly.
ハエ
This
から
oil has a
作った
slight
美
aroma of
薬。
flowers and olive. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Then pull yourself together, Werner.
カーとしては誰だ？
Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
どうやって遺体を見つけ
How
た？
did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Huh. Who knows? I
な
found
る
him
ほど
alone
ね。
on the
やっぱ
altar,
なん
his
か
blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called
演
Mr.
劇をやる予
Manchios.
定だった
He
み
was
たいなことか
panicking,。so I told
そ
him
したら
about
本当に
you.
死んじゃったみたいな
We。left the room and locked the door. Then we were
Filling time?
waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
被害者を知っていた
Were
か。
you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew
ああ
Fabio.
彼が
or
ファビオな
wanted
の
to.
か。
His beauty was the talk of the island.
亡くなった彼がファビオ
Too
だった
handsome
ね。
to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance and more.
なるほどね。それで美少年だったからその気のある金持ちに狙われてたわけか、彼は。警察は何
The
も知ら
police
ないのか。
remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we
なるほど
didn't
ね。
want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock,
最初から
it's
その
that
つもり
nothing
だったってこ
suits
と
you
だ
more
ね。
than a good mystery.
儀式について話してくれ。
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil. Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
部屋は空いていたのか。
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
that detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
さっきテーブルの上にあった鍵っていうのがその言ってる鍵と同じ鍵かな。
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
何を調べたらいいんだろう。まだ多分調べきれてないもの、見つけてないものがある感じかな。この机の上はさっき見たよね。これは
The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it.
周りに水が溜まっている。
Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
推理しようか。ホームズさんはいつまでこの格好してればいいんだろう。多いね。多いな。1、2、3、4、5、6箇所か。何者かに刺された。殴られた。ああ、ここは殴られたんだろうね。刺されたのは多分祭壇の上だよね。そこについてるのはどう見ても左手の跡だから、こういう形かな。要はぶん殴った犯人が彼を引きずって祭壇まで連れて行こうとしたってことだよね。ここは殴ったか、抵抗したか、刺されたかか。まあ、だとしたらここでは刺されたんじゃないの。もうここで刺さなきゃどこで刺すっていう感じだよね。あー、なるほどね。だからその人が鍵を刺してて反対側から鍵が刺さってたからってことか。で諦めて芸術家の彼が、金持ちの彼がここをはけてった後にもう一回出てったみたいなことかな。あー、でその後犯人が手を洗ったり衣装をここに隠したりしたってことかな。これでどうでしょう。
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here.
説明した方がいいのかな。
Pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
I know you can untangle.
どうしろっていうの？外出て探せばいいのかな。とりあえず記憶の宮殿やるか。ファビオは儀式殺人の被害者だ。ファビオはオカルトの儀式の生贄にされてしまった。地 近くの部屋で襲われた。ファビオは儀式殺人の被害者だ。儀式は本当の目的を隠すためだ。なるほどね。まあ、なんか別の目的があった可能性はまあ大いにあるよな。儀式殺人の被害者だとしたら、本来の用途と異なるというか、本来の方法と異なる方法でやっちゃったら意味がない気がするからね。とりあえずこっちにしとこうか。まだいける？鍵には誰も触れていないと閉められたわ。犯人は裁断室の鍵を持っていた。犯人は裁断室の鍵を所有していて、扉を閉めるのに使用した。でも、机の上にあった、あれだよね。ファビオの鍵を利用した可能性もあるよね。
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests.
星の仮面。
He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry. I know you can untangle
これだ
this
けか。
mess.
で、これか。カートマンチョスの見た目。金色の星の仮面をかぶった神経質な男がカート。
Sherlock, don't forget to find the information I need before the guests leave.
金色の星の仮面。どの人だろう。
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the
この
one
人か。
Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
裁断室に入れる人物
I
は
need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos. Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
サントスとマティッサはどこだ？
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on?
なんだ？
Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
ああ。警察？なんで？殺人を隠蔽してたから？やば。本当に警察？ショットガンぶっ放して。やばすぎ。で急展開すぎて、ああ逮捕されてる。手錠かかってない手に。
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that
まあ、ホ
goldfish,
ームズはね、
Bigwig. My wretched brother Mycroft.
兄さん
and
が
his
そうだ
long
ね、
nose.
マイクロフ
Wait,
トが
did you say Mycroft?
助けてくれちゃうよね。
Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
母を知っていた？
You knew my mother.
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
交渉しよう。
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald.
なるほどね。
I'll leave everything I have on this table.
手柄が欲しいから。
Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
We should have listened to the guests.
なるほどね。
Now I have nothing to write about.
衣装着替えて大丈夫かな？まだダメか。これは何？レポート？事件記録62から60番。悪魔儀式の目撃者による遺体発見の通報を受け、マンチョス邸の強制捜査の許可が下った。これにより多数の容疑者を逮捕し、仮面とローブを身につけ、わいせつ行為や異常な行動をとっている集団を離散させることに成功した。祭壇の上で発見された遺体の胸にはナイフによる傷が確認された。警察官は被害者が20歳の地元の演者で芸術家であるファビオであると断定した。逮捕された容疑者は次の通り。V. ボーゲル。ボーゲルは被害者によって書かれた中傷の手紙を所持していた。遺体を発見したのは自分だと主張している。容疑者はその風変わりな性格で悪名高い人物だ。S. ホームズ、私ですね。被害者の血が付着した凶器のダガーのほか複数の証拠を携帯していた。ホームズが容疑者であるボーゲルに招待されたのは警察の捜査を妨害するためであると思われる。K. マンチョス。この人がカート・マンチョスさんかな。マンチョスは邸宅の主人で悪魔的なパーティーの主催者である。被害者に報酬を支払い儀式に参加させた。事件現場に入ることができた。マティスタ。ファビオの相棒として儀式に参加していた。逃走を試み逮捕に抵抗した。祭壇室で執り行われた儀式が記された本を所持していた。その他の客はさらなる聴取のため一時的に拘留中である。なるほどね。これは
Back on track to solve the case.
取り調べ室の鍵か。証拠チケット。このチケットの提供者には62から60番の事件の証拠をすべて調べる許可が与えられる。ありがとう。何でも調べられるわけね、もう。目撃者の供述調書。私、サントス・ピンチェッティはグランドサライ地区のマンチョス邸で発生したと思われる殺人事件を通報した目撃者である。なるほどね。この人に通報されちゃったんだ。社交会の準備中、私は閉ざされた祭壇室から大きな物音を聞いた。私はカート・マンチョスが話していた生物を生贄に捧げる行為を即座に思い出した。壁には血で奇妙な印が書かれ、ダガーが心臓に刺さっていたのだ。私は気を取り直してすぐ警察署に殺人事件を報告した。この供述に対して署は警察官を派遣し、その間に目撃者は帰宅した。記憶の宮殿行ける？サントスがこうかな。サントスは容疑者だ。サントスは容疑者であり逮捕して尋問するべきだ。彼が持っていた鍵について調書には何も書かれていない。そう、彼も鍵持ってるはずだみたいな言ってたもんね。で、まだ着替えちゃいけないんだっけ？まだダメなんだね。この格好で探偵ですって名乗って調書を取るのか。信じてもらえるかな。
Look, I found Werner.
ああ、取り調べ室にみんな番号が振ってあるんだ。私は4番にいたんだね。1から順に行きたくない？ここが1か。1は誰もいないのか。 すごいね。取り調べ室なのに、だって、こんな、もうこの時代はまだそういう法律とかもガバガバだったんだろうね。2番も誰もいないか。で、3番がここ ?3 番も誰もいないね。全然誰も取り調べ受けてないじゃん。で、僕が4番にいたから、5番
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of
この
your
人が
colleagues are
主催者
untrained
か。
bores. Although I don't mind meeting young officers.
カート・マンチョスさんね。
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
観察する。頬紅、化粧をしている。うっすらピンクだもんね。赤い斑点、染毛剤による発疹。荒れちゃってんだ、皮膚が。爪の下の洗剤、急いで手を洗った。さっきの裁断室の横のところにも手洗った跡があったもんね。磨かれた質のいい革、非常に贅沢な靴。カート・マンチョスは非常に裕福だが風変わりで分別がない。彼はコルドナの上流階級の人間たちのためにパーティーを主催し、マンチョス邸を所有している。彼が時間を共に過ごすのは自分と同じく過剰な特権を持った人間たちだ。だがそんな交際の仕方をしてきたことで彼は自分の健康に気を使うようになった。彼は体を清潔に保つために薬と染毛剤を過剰に使い、かえって肌を傷つけている。カート・マンチョスは非常に裕福だが風変わりで分別がない。彼はコルドナの上流階級の人間たちのために、ここは一緒だね。カートはパーティーで自分の本当の年齢を若い参加者に隠そうとしている。彼は老いを気にするあまり、化粧や染毛剤で自分を若く見せようとしている。それはあるかもね。なんかこう、若さへの憧れというか、若い人への執着みたいな、若い男が好きみたいなありそうだから、こっちにしとこうかな。
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an
やっぱ
issue for
気に
someone
な
of
って
your
んだな。
status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones
なるほどね。
are so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
自分
Such a
が
methodical man who cares
言い
for
寄っ
his
た
body but misses the
若い
sun
男の子
under
が
his
嫌がるわ
fingernails.
けか。
Are you so impatient or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
パーティーについて詳しく知りた
Mr.
い。
Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
誰を招待
I'd
する
like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see.
なぜボーゲルを招待
Why
した
did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
なるほどね。ファビオはどんな人物だ
What
っ
was
た
Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty.
そんなに
Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
なるほどね。証拠。
You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
なるほどね。まあ確かにその執事長の人は、もし知ってたなら、ね、もし何もこう知らずに、その遺体を見つけたなら、まずはね、自分のボスである家主に、彼に報告しそうなものだもんね。それを真っ先に警察に言ったんだから。
I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
なるほどね。この人が一緒に儀式をやる予定だったっていう女性かな。お悔やみ申し上げる。
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
発言にもちょっと宗教味があるね。信仰深そう。血が溜まった傷、最近つけられた。そやな、オカルトの入れ墨。自分で入れ墨をした。うわぁ。治った古い切り傷。自分でつけた傷。めちゃめちゃ自傷行為してるな。爪を噛んでいる。神経質。やけどの跡。焼きごてによってつけられた。これは被害者にもついてたのやつだね。腕に。それを隠すために上から入れ墨してましたみたいな話だったもんね。あとはどこだ？これか。足風の傷、古くほとんど見えない。ファビオの相棒であるマティスタは辛い人生を送ってきた。また子供だった頃から彼女は奴隷として働いていた。同じ奴隷であるファビオと出会ったが、二人が似た印を持っているのはそのためだ。古い傷は思春期の奴隷生活の頃のものだ。奴隷時代の経験で負った心の傷は現在も彼女を苦しめている。長年による虐待でマティスタは自分の体に気を使わなくなったようだ。彼女は客に体を売って客の好きなようにさせている。彼女は一線を越えることにためらいがない。またマティスタは体に入れ墨を入れている。で、これは神秘主義に傾倒している彼女はオカルトの印の入れ墨をしている。マティスタは過去の出来事を忘れようとしており、演者としての生活で金を稼ごうとしているようだ。まあ、オカルトに傾倒してるっていうのは、それっぽいよな。さっきの発言もね、なんか、魂と肉体は別々みたいな ちょっと違った偏った考え方してる感じしたもんね。自分の肉体のことを殻だとかって呼んでたもんね。どっちかっていうとこっちかな。
Fabio and yourself were slaves, am I correct? You have a similar branding on your body.
Yes. It was a long time ago.
Couldn't help but also notice fresh cuts upon your forearms.
The cuts helped me to forget my past.
な
To
るほど
cover
ね。
the old wounds and hide them.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Cordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
どこで怪我
The
をした？
bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They
なるほ
even
どね。
bite, sometimes. I know I can handle the news.
過剰に暴行を加えられた結果だって言いたいわけね、お客さんから。7番は入れなくて、8番は入れるけど、誰も人がいないか。サントスさんにそうだ、会ってないのか。執事長だっていう。この中にも人はいないな。
Werner, are you all right?
あ、捕まって
Oh,
る。
yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
嘘をつく気は
There
ない。
are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
順番に見せ
I
る
can't
か。
follow you here. I can't follow you here. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti,
Do I know him?
the major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you.
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him. I know you can untangle this mess.
何か変わったのかな、これで。
This area is restricted.
ここは立ち入り禁止。こっちは、あ、こっちは行けるのか。ああ、みんなその格好のまま連れてこられて、警察署内で酒飲んでるやついるけど。
I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him.
ああ、まだそもそも彼は疑われてすらなかったのか。
Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation room.
戻ろう。じゃあ7番って言った？
This area is restricted.
こっちか。さっき唯一鍵がかかってたとこがそうかな。ここだね。
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
めちゃめちゃ容疑者が多いな。どんどん増えてくね。継当てされた穴、何度も修繕されている。新しいの買うお金がないのかな。染色された生地、何度も染色されている。染め直してるってこと？赤く腫れた肌、感染または過敏性。肌弱いんか。血が飛び跳ねた後、血を踏んだ。サントス・ピンチェッティはマンチョス邸の執事長だ。執事長という邸宅でも一番高い地位にもいるにもかかわらず、貧しい暮らしをしているようだ。体には感染の症状が見られ、厚化粧で傷ついた肌を隠そうとしている。執事長のスーツには多くの穴が開き、継ぎはぎだらけになっている。染料を使ってスーツの見た目を改善しようとした。重度の主戦度。十分な金を持っているが、サントスはそれをほとんど使おうとしない。安物の化粧品で体の傷を隠している。サントスはおしゃれのために何度かスーツを染色している。金をさらに節約するため、この執事長はスーツに開いた穴を自分で修繕しているようだ。経済的に困窮してるのかな。なんか最初にね、お屋敷でカート・マンチョスさんに話しかけた時も、まあ肩書きだけだけどねみたいな、執事長って言ってもみたいな雰囲気だったから、こっちかな。
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide, under heavy makeup, a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
Do not have a lot of means. Pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
被害者を知っていたか?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose. Please let me out.
これは何ですか？鍵？
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
祭壇室の鍵か。全部で5本。カート・マンチョスの遺言状とメモ。遺言状に添えられたメモの内容は次の通りだ。怠け者のサントス。貴様が遺言に参加したいと懇願してきたから入れてやったぞ。これが私の新しい遺言だ。カート。メモの下に書かれた遺言の内容は次の通りだ。マンチョス邸の執事長であるサントス・ピンチェッティには口ひげ用のワックスの瓶と塩のランプが与えられる。雇用主の気遣いを忘れるなかれ、カート・マンチョス。なるほどね。全然大事にされてないわけだ。執事長として尽くしているにもかかわらず、その見返りが十分にもらえていないと、そう言いたいわけだね。これで調べたし、一旦またおまわりさんに報告しに行くか。
Continue our investigation while I look at the papers.
違うのか。あまりにもちょっと人が多いからな。順番に話しかけて進捗がないかどうか。こっちのこの雇い主の方の人に見せるか。
A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
そうおっしゃってますけど。
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle.
ああ、そうなんだ。
His next of kin.
血縁なんだね。
Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts.
現状この人が一番怪しく見えちゃうな。動機が一番ありそうなのはこの人のような気がしちゃうよな。
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
知らせられる人に順番に回って
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
知らせよう。
Please let me out.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
じゃああとおまわりさんか。
Continue our investigation
あれ
while I look at the papers.
全員と話したと思うけどな。一応こっちにも出られるけど。
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help
ああ、さっきのチケットか。どれだっけ。拾ったね。証拠
I'd
チケ
like to
ッ
check
ト。
the
これか。
evidence from this case.
you. And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see.
なるほどね。
A ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
で、警察官が集めた証拠を見せてもらえるわけか。
An emergency kit for boredom.
薬物を注射するための道具かな。ファビオからの手紙。ボーゲルの証拠箱の中にあった手紙。気は確かなのか？あなたは自分の憎しみを制御できていない。少なくとも僕の周りではね。僕にはお見通しさ。僕は僕が決めた人と一緒に過ごし会話をし遊ぶんだ。僕はマティスタじゃない。金をもらってはいるがあなたは僕の飼い主じゃない。もちろんあなたからの寛大な援助は返さないよ。いくら受け取ってもあなたの感情の爆発にさらされる足しにはならないけどね。僕とあなたの関係はもう終わりだ。マティスタはまだいるだろうけどね。ファビオより。
Not the time for privacy.
なるほどね。ファビオからはもう愛想をつかされてたわけだ。
Werner's personal sketchbook. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone.
これはこれ鍵じゃないの。
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring.
ああ、家の中の鍵なんだね。あっちこっちの。
A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner.
ああ、これはカートマンティスのマンチョスのやつなんだね。
A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings.
怖っ。紙と付け爪が入ったお守り。
Her key to the altar room.
M って書いてあるね。女の人のやつかな。これはなんだ？ The Power of Love Blood and Mandrake。
That's not for bedtime reading.
愛の力。何の本だこれ。
This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library.
愛の力、血とマンドレイク。警察による逮捕の最中、マティッサのカバンからオカルトの本が発見された。蔵書表によれば、この本はカート氏が所有する蔵書の一冊だ。本には事件現場に似た儀式の絵と文章による解説が記されている。近日中に他界した大切な人間を裸体にせよ。火星と金星の紋章を描くことで汝の力を増幅させ、男、そして女の本質の力を使え。男の心臓を金色のダガーで貫き、汝を愛さない血を取り除け。汝の愛を示す紋章をかけ、蘇生を待つ間、魅惑の呪文を暗唱せよ。
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
彼女がこれに感化されたっていう可能性も出てきたわけだね、これで。うわー、いっぱいある。愛の力と、マティスタ関連のやつは、ファビオからの怒りの手紙と、これはダメ？手紙はカートに宛てたものかもしれない。サントスの証言と手紙の内容から考えて、手紙はカートマンチョスに宛てたものかもしれない。まあ、お金もらってるとかって言ってたし、そうなんだろうね。マティスタはパーティーの最中に客から乱暴な声を受け、体に傷を負った。まあ、少なくとも彼女自身はそう証言してたよね。カートマンチョスは堕落した趣味のために注意深く準備をしている。サントスは執事長、侮辱していた。サントスの努力は報われない。サントスは遺産を手に入れるため必死にカートのために働いていた。しかしその努力は報われていない。はいはいはい。カートが趣味のために洗ってたのか、殺した後に洗い落としたのかっていう、まあその可能性もあるよね。だからカートマンチョスっていう人がファビオっていう男の人に愛想をつかされて、でそれだけお気に入りだった相手の男の子がどっかよそに行って誰か別の人のものになるぐらいならいっそ殺してしまおうっていう。複数人で行われた可能性もなくはないかなってちょっと思うんだよね。だから彼女、例えばそのカートマンチョスがそのファビオさんと揉めて瓶かなんかで頭をこうカッとなって殴っちゃって失神した状態で怖くて逃げ出して、でその後そのマンティスさんか女の人、黒人の女性が彼のところに現れて、で変な儀式の本に感化されて、自分を愛さない男の血をダガーで取り除かなきゃみたいなので祭壇まで運んで刺してみたいな。で執事の人は血を踏んでたから、どのタイミングだろうな。殺害がどのタイミングだったかっていうことだよね。でもそれでいくと最終的に殺したのはこの推測でいくとあれになるよね。その彼女だよね。女性が殺人、最終的にとどめを刺したのは彼女っていうことになりそうな気がするよね。で、そうか、執事長は通報したんだから、執事長は一番最後にそれを見てるはずだよね、多分ね。祭壇でダガーが突き刺さって亡くなってる彼を見て、ファビオを見て通報してるから、血はその時についたのかなってなると、2段階だったって可能性あるよな。 いやー、わかんないね。考えすぎかもしれない。一応まだこっちにしとこうかな。完全に、主が彼を殺したかっていうのは断定できないよな。これで一回、警官の人にもう一回話しかけてみるか。
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
犯人を明確にしないとってことか。
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
また新たに交流されてる面々から話を聞けるかな。みんなどこだっけ。あ、ここはこの人か。
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
ああ、ボーゲルさんの証拠箱の中にあったのか。誰宛てかはそうか、明確になってないのか。
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my
そうか、儀式の本はこの女性が持ってたっていうだけでもともとは彼のものなのか。
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real.
この人は完全にそれ系の考え方に染まってる感あるもんな。
I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so. Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in
それは
love
事
are
実
both
な
a
んだ。
blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
あなたはオカルトを信仰している。
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought. I know I can handle the...
さっきそんなこと書いてあったよな。そうだね、蘇生を待つ間、魅惑の呪文を暗唱せよってなってるもんね。もし彼女が言うことが 本当なんだとしたら、魅惑の呪文を暗唱したっていう部分だけ私がやったのっていうことなら、もう行った時にはああなってたってことだよね。ってなると彼女はじゃあ殺してなくて、また別の誰かが犯人だっていうことになるのか。いや難しいな。あとは執事長はダメか。ボーゲルさんは
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
ボーゲルかカートのどちらかが嘘をついている。カートはボーゲルが手紙を取ったと主張するが、ボーゲルはそんなことをした覚えがないという。ボーゲルが逮捕されたのは手紙のせい。ボーゲルは酩酊状態で手紙を取った。バーナーは複数の薬物で酩酊状態になっている時に手紙を自分で手に取った。カートが手紙をポケットに入れた。カートがボーゲルのポケットに手紙を忍び込ませ、彼を容疑者に仕立て上げようとした。ここ現状判定できないよな。酩酊状態でそもそも人の手紙をパクるっていうあり得るのかな。どこにだってその手紙があったのか。まあそうかね。カートさんがその芸術家のボーゲルさんを招待したのが花から犯人に仕立て上げようとするっていうその部分が目的だったんだとすれば、まあそうか。そうした方がいいよねっていうことか。容疑者にして、でもさ、ボーゲルさんをじゃあ容疑者にして、ファビオっていう男の人をカートさんが殺す目的がわかんないよね。彼はカートさんのお気に入りで、大金払ったりプレゼントを送ってまでして、つなぎ止めておきたいと思った相手なわけだから、わからんな。もしボーゲルさんが勝手に手紙をパクったんだとしたら、カートさんにしたらそれは想定外の事態だったよね。見つかったらまずいものだった。容疑者になりかねないもんね、自分が。でもさ、ファビオさんがこの芸術家の人にあんな手紙をわざわざ送らないよね。どの程度接点があったのかわかんないけど、別にボーゲルさんが女性とね、マンティスさんとファビオさんを面倒見てたわけじゃないから、仕立て上げようとするには弱い気がするよね。手紙の内容を読んだらさ、だってそんなに深い仲じゃなくねってなったらすぐバレそうなもんだよね。ってなるとこっちかな。こう登場人物とか犯人になり得る人たちがどれぐらいこう深く考えて行動してる人物なのかっていうのがわからないもんね。もしボーゲルさんをはめようと思って手紙をポケットに入れたならちょっと弱い気がしちゃうよね。そう考えると手紙はカートさんは表に出したくないものだったけど、ボーゲルさんが酩酊状態の時に何らかの理由でそれをパクって手に入れちゃってみたいな、そういうことかな。こっちにしとくか。まだいけるか。難しいな、だんだん。ファビオはカートの心を傷つけた。ファビオはカートの気持ちを踏みにじった。 愛の力とこれかな。マティスタはファビオに儀式を施したのかもしれない。マティスタはファビオに儀式を施し、彼の愛を取り戻そうとしたのかもしれない。まだいける？マティスタを傷つけたのはファビオか、マティスタは客に傷つけられたかか。どうなんだろうな。彼女の首に怪我があったのは向かって左手側だったよね。だから揉み合って怪我をするんだとすれば、ファビオさんからすると左手で怪我させたことになるよね。で、ファビオさんが頭を怪我してたのは向かって右側の頭だったから、向かって右側の頭をワインの瓶で殴りつけるにはやっぱり右手で持って殴るのかな。左手から右上、左手で右上から左下に向かって振り下ろすってこともまあできなくはないけど、もし自分の左首を掴まれてる、手かなんかで掴まれてる状態だったら、左手で瓶持って右上から左下へは振り下ろせないよね。だから普通に考えると、でも左手でもし誰かに首を絞められてたら、右手でいけなくはないか。物理的に不可能、全く不可能ってわけではないか。全然ね。ちょっと振り下ろしにくい気はするけどね。相手の左腕が邪魔で、右手で持った瓶を相手の頭にぶつけるっていうのはやりにくい気がするけど、結局どっちに持ってきたいかだよね。犯人を誰だと思ってるかっていう話になってくるよね。難しいね。ちょっと操作のあれを頭部の裂傷が鈍的外傷によるもの。他に外傷がなかったんだとすれば、揉み合ったりはしてないのかな。儀式の内容は、他界した大切な人間を裸体にせよ。火星と金星の紋章を描くことで男女の力を増幅させ、男そして女の本質の力を使え。男の心臓を金色のダガーで貫き、汝を愛さない血を取り除け。汝の愛を示す紋章を描け。蘇生を待つ間、魅惑の呪文を暗唱せよ。他界した大切な人間を裸体にせよだもんね。死んでること前提だもんね。花からそのつもりだったってことかな。もう一度愛してほしいから殺して儀式に使っちゃおうっていうことだったっていうこと。でもこれだったらカートさんだってそれが分かったはずだよね。でも男そして女の本質の力を使えだもんね。男と女じゃなきゃ成立しないのか。カートさんは男の人が好きだけど男性だもんね。 女性ってわけじゃないから。そうするとこれを実行して意味があったのは、もしこれを完全に信用するなら彼女がやったことになるのかな。サントスは誤って血を踏んでしまった。事件現場を発見したサントスは血を踏んでしまった可能性がある。サントスは血しぶきを見逃した。サントスがファビオを殺害して自分自身を洗ったとき、彼は靴についた血の汚れを見逃した。で、誤って踏んでしまったか。でもサントスさんが偶然儀式になぞらえて人を殺すってことがありえるのかって話になってくるよね。でもサントスさんが別に彼を殺すメリットはないと思うんだよな。遺産が欲しかったかもしれないけど、まあ腹いせって可能性もあるけど、でも腹いせで人まで殺すかなっていうのもあるよな。遺産がもらえない腹いせに別に彼を殺したとこで自分にその遺産が十中八九回ってくるわけじゃないから、もう誰を犯人にしたいかっていう風にする感じだよね。これで全部見つかってるはずだよね。方向性が噛み合ってないから結論が出ないのか。こっちはその人を犯人にしたい雰囲気なのに、こっちがみたいなね。もう犯人を誰にしたいかを決めないといけない感じだよね、現時点でね。サントスさんは違うと思うんだよな。犯人はもうカーとかマティスタだと思うんだ。マティスタさんかな。一番殺したい、なんかブレーキが壊れてしまってる感は一番感じたのはマティスタさんかな。神秘主義でオカルト、結構オカルトの世界にもうどっぷりだったし、カートさんはオカルトはあくまでもオカルトみたいな、まだ一線隠してるような、一線引けてる感覚ではあったから、こういうことになるのかな。だからいやーまあでも、まあそうかな。打ちひしがれた心は、マティスタの過酷な人生が彼女の人となりを形作った。彼女には善悪の判断がつかない。彼女は愛するファビオと一緒に過ごしたかったのだ。オカルトを利用し自らが受けた屈辱を晴らそうとしている。彼女はファビオと一緒になるため彼を視察した。彼女は自分の犯した罪を償うべきだ。どんな判事であれためらいなく死刑を宣告するだろう。なるほどね。助けてあげるか罪を償わせるかっていうところか。悩む。でも精神病院にしとこうかな。 この結論が合ってるかどうかも定かではないからね。
Matista, you killed Fabio during the ritual.
What? No. I could never.
儀式を執り行った。
You knocked out Fabio with a bottle, you locked the door and placed him on the altar. You cast spells and pushed a blade between his ribs. The blood from his wound was used to draw symbols across his body and the room itself. You wanted to use your gift to resurrect him, but he failed to wake up. So you cleaned yourself up and left the room, realizing the full scale of what you'd done.
That's just wrong. I didn't do it. You didn't see what happened.
Then tell me, what did happen?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't either.
ファビオを取り戻そうと
Fabio
した
was a rising star. Cordona already knew of him, and you were not as popular. Your duo was coming to an end. He would have left you, and you were afraid of that. Since you believe in your gift, you thought you could revive him after death. And that time, he would have stayed with you.
That is not true. I was afraid of him leaving me, but I would never have hurt him.
傷が証
You
拠
were
だ。
there when Fabio was killed. He fought for his life and inflicted those bruises on your body, but you knocked him out eventually.
I was with the guests all the time. Manchios ordered me.
医者の助けが
I
必要
can
だ。
see that life hasn't been kind to you. Since childhood, you have been used and abused. The guests at the Manchios mansion are not that different. And even if you think you are in control, such a life takes a heavy toll regardless. The only good thing you had in your life was Fabio. You were so frightened of losing him that you killed him. I believe your only chance for a normal life is to receive medical help. Psychiatrists will help you.
Others have always decided what my life should be. And you're no different, Mr. Holmes.
That is your only option, Matista. I'm afraid you can't choose.
で、これを刑事さんに伝えればいいのかな。
It was Matista, Fabio's friend. All the evidence points to her. It is sadly the result of her traumatic past. She requires medical help. There can be no good in executing a person who has such an illness.
She doesn't look sick to me.
That's why the professionals should handle it.
I suppose you're right. It's still good enough for my promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
合ってたのかな。証拠っていうのはこれ？事件記録0743番。到着した捜査官によってストーンウッド邸の庭の遺体はバイオレット・ホームズ夫人であると確認された。被害者の体は全体が水で濡れており、喉には5センチほどにわたる縦型の深い切開の跡が確認できた。被害者の顔は膨れ上がり赤い斑点に覆われていた。死因は低酸素症であると考えられる。監察医の確認待ち。第一容疑者のオットー・リヒターを現場で逮捕した。遺体は検視のために移送された。そんな状態だったのか。
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it...
Oh, you did it, Sherlock. The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo.
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
好ましい
It
結
was
果
the
だ。
best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
僕は自由だ。
Oh, yes. It's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
What an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Did you hear Basilio Cambello is in jail?
まあ、お家に帰ろうか。そしたら、もう着替えれる？もういつものちょっとホームズさんに戻ろうか。戻って、自宅に裏庭があるみたいな話だった？
Do exercise some restraint, Mr. Holmes. Find the who's and we'll handle the whys.
裏庭へはどうやって行くんだ？家の中から続く扉があるのかな？あ、これか。
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain. And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
なるほどね。もうこれ以上行くと、もうっていうね。よくあるやつだ。ラスボス前の。ここから先に行くとエンディングまで戻ることができませんみたいなやつね。まあ行こうか。
John, my animum, my brother, there is nothing more
もうって
important
ことは
in this moment than this
こ
truth.
れがラスト
I
も
know
し
you
かして
fear for me, but my path was set
今回最終回
long
か
ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together.
ついにお母さんの死の真実がじゃあわかるわけか。
Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good. That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London.
すごい広いじゃん。
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive. Father?
ああ、お母さんとグランドピアノの幻影が。何？ティーカップ。壊れたティーカップだね。ああ、何？あ、動けるのか、この状態で。お母さんの部屋だ。
Come here, Sherry. Hurry.
どうしたの？揉めてるね。 れはどうしたらいいんだ僕は。
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
もしかしてホームズさんがおかしくなったお母さんを助けようとして結果死に至らしめてしまったみたいな、そういうパターンかな。
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
だからお兄さんのマイクロフトも彼にこのことを調べてほしくないし思い出してほしくないのかな。お母さんの声がする。
Don't go, Mother, wait.
これは
I remember this artifact from Mother's
工芸
collection.
品。ジャパニーズの工芸品じゃないね。松の木っぽくない。
Mother's work journal. I liked poring
仕
over the
事用の
detailed
手
pages
帳
and reading
か。
about my parents' collection.
ここはあ、家の中か。どうすればいいんだ？
Here
あ、
it is.
これか。
We'll just borrow it for a while.
さっきの
Did you hear that?
ジャパニーズ工芸品。
Let's take a peek.
お兄さんとお医者さんが揉めてた時の
You
シーンじゃない
call
の？
this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer.
はい。お母さん。
I'm waiting for you.
Coming, Mother. This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
あ、お母さんの車椅子を押してあげるみたいなことか。
Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mo.
OK。すごいな、こんな下ガタガタなのに。
Fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed. Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
ああ、マイクロフトが作ったんだ、この池は。お母さんのために。
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea.
どこまで行けばいいんだろう。ぐるっと一周すればいいのかな。
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
そうか。
No, he's not. I'm telling the truth.
お母さん、そういう状態だったね、そういえば。
No, don't you dare say such things.
Ah!
You are a liar like all the others.
Mother!
Don't call me that. You aren't fooling
やばすぎ。
Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie.
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself.
Please stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry.
なるほどね。その後どうなったんだ。お母さんがシャーロックを水ゼビにしてから死ぬまでの間に何があったかって話だよね。うわー、もう無理やり記憶の宮殿に飛ばされた。リヒターの実験。精神病と病的興奮は？母さんは僕を殺そうとした。母さんはストーンウッド邸の池で僕を溺れさせようとした。そうだね。マイクロフトがリヒターを捕まえた。実験。母さんの喉が切り裂かれた。低酸素症による死。この辺はあんまり関係ないのか。ここは関係あるかな。マイクロフトはリヒター博士を糾弾した。マイクロフトはオットー・リヒターを捕まえ、母さんの死について彼を責めた。紅茶に混ぜられた鎮静剤。紅茶を運んだ。副作用の危険。リヒター博士は母さんを使って変わった薬や治療法の実験をしていた。投薬するごとに副作用を引き起こす危険があった。鎮静剤を常用していた母さんの耐性は相当高くなっていたはずだ。彼女にとってはそこまで危険ではなかっただろう。まあ副作用の危険はあったんじゃないかな。ジョンと精神病は？脆い平常心。母さんの精神病は遺伝によるものが大きく、僕の精神や合理性も影響を受けている可能性がある。なるほどね。怪しい精神科医。マイクロフトはオットー・リヒター博士の治療が気に入らず彼を信用していなかった。母さんは溺死した。母さんは溺死した。喉の傷は犯人によって恥ずかしめとしてつけられたものか、彼女を救おうとしてつけられたものかのどちらかだ。母さんは溺死していない。母さんの喉の切開は気管切開を行おうとした後だ。溺れていたのならそんなことをする必要はない。どっちだろうな。喉の切開をした、そんなことができるのは博士だよね。溺れていた人間を助けたいなら、でも人工呼吸と心臓マッサージかな。そうだよね。溺死だったなら気管切開なんてする必要はない気がするよな。まあでも人工呼吸を気管の切開でそこから行うっていうこともまあ考えられなくはないか。現代でもね、なんか子供が物飲み込んじゃって喉詰まっちゃったら最悪ボールペンで喉のとこに穴開けなさいっていうもんね。窒息死するぐらいならそれで気管に穴開けてそこから呼吸できるようにしなさいっていう。治療でもね、喉の気管に管刺して酸素を送ったりみたいな、そういうのもあるぐらいだから。 歴史だから、歴史は歴史なのかな。オットー・リヒター博士もだから彼女はあそこで殺すつもりはなかったじゃないかと思うよね。だシャーロックを溺死させて、溺死というか水攻めにしたお母さんが我に返って自分の息子を溺死させてしまったっていうショックで自ら池の中に飛び込んで溺死しようとして、で博士がそれに気づいて助けようとして気管の切開をして、でも助からなくてっていうところをマイクロフトに見つかって、お前ついにやったなみたいなことになったって考えるのが一番しっくりくるかな。じゃないとそれ以外に気管の切開をする必要がないよね。気管の切開まで行ってんだもんね。だってね、別に首を切られて死んだとかじゃなくて、難しいね。まあ歴史かな。でここが噛み合わないってことか。副作用の危険があったことと溺死したことは噛み合わないわけか。そうなんだ。副作用があってだから溺死してしまったっていうんじゃ違うのか。耐性があったっていうことになると、ああ、どちらにせよ母さん何者かに溺死させられたになるのか。で溺死していないになると、ああ、アレルギー反応を起こしての窒息死か。なるほどね。薬をシャーロックがこれを飲めば落ち着くよねって言って、そうか、その可能性はあるな。そうか、そっちの方が合ってそうだな。だからお母さんがびしょびしょに濡れてたのは、シャーロックを水攻めにした時に跳ねた水が帰ってきて自分にかかって濡れてて、でその直後にアレルギー反応が起きて窒息をしたのか。でそれを見つけた博士がまずいぞって言って気管切開したけど助からなかったみたいなことかな。だからお母さんを殺したのは僕だっていうことになるのか。なるほどね。こうかな。これが最後の選択です。本当にその選択でよろしいですか？確定後選択を変更することはできません。怖いこと言うじゃん。まあでもお兄さんがそうまでして隠そうとしたってことはきっとそういうことな気がするよね。ジョンが殺したっていうのは、でもさ、ジョンは結局ね、その僕のホームズさんの想像の中の友達、イマジナリーフレンドなわけだから、結局それってホームズさんが思いついたことと同義だよね。まあだからこっちになるのかな。わざわざ2つに分かれてるところがあれだけど。
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry, you
knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
I killed my own mother, John. It is unforgivable.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
How could she? You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
お兄さんか?
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. From a truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
あ、消えた。
There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions? You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
Ah, いるじゃん、ジョン。
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking.
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John, why?
Because you're breaking my heart. I know you've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
もう目的がないってことだもんね。だホームズさんがお母さんを、まあ事故とはいえ薬を紅茶に混ぜてアレルギー反応を起こさせて死なせてしまったっていうのから守るために生まれたイマジナリーフレンドだったけど、もうそれに行き着いたから存在する必要がなくなったってことだね。
Why are you here? Closure, I suppose. and to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter. Otto's
なる
younger
ほど
brother.
ね。
Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project.
Hmm. 誰の絵？
You really
シャーロック・ホームズの絵？
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me, pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now, I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything?
Yaba. 死体にめちゃめちゃグーパンしてるじゃん。
I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death? How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you?
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken. And I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours. And I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well. But those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rout?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
ああ、やっぱそうだ。これが初めての出会いなわけね、二人の。おー、終わった。なるほどね。本当にあのジョンはやっぱ空想のあれで、その後たまたま現れたジョン・ H ・ワトソンが空想のジョンと同じ名前でホームズはびっくりしたっていうことなんだ。これは昔のストーンウッド邸とお母さんが亡くなった後のストーンウッド邸か。なるほどね。ここまでの一連の事件の答えがちょっと合ってたのかが気になるよね。自信を持って絶対合ってたって言えるのは一番最初のホテルでの殺人事件だけだもんな。その後のはなんか間違ってたかもしれないっていう気がするもんな、どれも。容疑者もね、最後は3人も容疑者がいて、彼女かなと思ってマンティスさんを選んじゃったけど、まあスキップしようか。ああ、これでもうおしまいっていう感じなのかな。はい、というわけで、じゃあ無事ねエンディングを見られて、まあお母さんが亡くなった理由は、まあ僕の出した結論でいくと、まあお母さんを落ち着かせようと思って鎮静剤を紅茶にちっちゃいホームズさんが混ぜちゃって、でそれでアレルギー症状が起きて窒息死してしまったっていうことだったんだね。でお兄さんはそれをホームズに知られないように一生懸命隠して言っちゃダメだ言っちゃダメだって言ってたんだけど、まあそれを解き明かしに行ってしまったっていうことだったんだね。でロンドンに戻ってしばらくして本物のジョン・H・ワトソンと会って、で他のゲームの話につながっていくみたいな感じなのかな。まあね、シャープ1でもなんか話をしたかもしれないけど、まあなんか他にもねいろいろシリーズがあと2作か3作ぐらいどうやら出てるようで、まあこれはその2作3作出た後にストーリーがねエピソード0みたいな感じで出た話ゲームみたいで、まあ言ってしまえば後付けで考えられたっていうことなのかな。ですが、まあ、やっぱ思ったより難しかったね。もっとこうなんか話にね乗っていくだけでクリアできるものかと思ったら、 結構カットバージョンっていうのをちょっと作ろうかなって思わされるぐらいには2時間の間でね、なんか数十分ぐらい悩んで何していいか分かんないとか、正解が何だか分かんないみたいなシーンがね、結構あって、まあこれは多分ね、後に出た方だから結構優しめにこれでも多分作られてるんじゃないかなっていう気がするよね。これより前に出てたその1作目2作目3作目ぐらいまでは、最初の方に出たやつなんかきっと難易度がなんかとんでもないことになってそうな気もするよね。まあこの作品みたいに難易度選択みたいなのがもしあったんだとすれば、まあね、そんなに難しいのが好きな人は難しくみたいな遊び方ができるのかもしれないけど、結構難しかったね。まあ他のね作品気になる方はぜひやってみていただいたらいいんじゃないかなと思います。この何とも言えない絶妙な難しさをこう味わってほしいね。で、犯人もね、合ってたんだか間違ってたんだかっていうのがわからない、こうどうだったんだろうっていうのを、まあ逆に言えばね、他の犯人を選ぶっていう楽しさもある、楽しみ方もあるよね。1回目とは違う犯人をわざと選んでどうなるかみたいなね。そしたら、あ、こっちの方が正しかったんだみたいなことになるかもしれないよね。合ってた時はこう明確に合ってたんだっていうのが確証が得られるようなストーリー展開になるのかもしれないし、間違った犯人選んでるからなんか合ってんだか間違ってんだか分かんないみたいな終わり方になってるっていう可能性もなくはないからね。まあぜひ気になる方はね、他のストーリー、他の犯人をちょっと選ぶみたいな、いや本当はこっちが犯人なんじゃないみたいなのをぜひ選んで、ストーリーのねちょっと展開とかご自身の目で確かめていただいたら楽しいんじゃないかなと思います。で、配信の中ではねほとんど扱いませんでしたけど、なんかサブクエストとかそういうのも結構量があるみたいなので、結局多分僕配信内でも外でも一個も多分サブクエストとか触ってないって、ちょっとどういうあれなのかわかんないんですけど、だいぶメインストーリーだけでもね量がボリュームもあったし、難易度もちょうど難しすぎず簡単すぎずっていうぐらいの、まあ、ちょっと難しいよりかなっていう気はしたけど、まあ、難易度だったのでね、まあ、ぜひ遊ばれる方はサブクエストとかね、そこら辺もいろいろあるので楽しめるんじゃないかなと思います。はい、というわけで、じゃあね、そのサブクエストとか他にもね、なんかこうやり込み要素がいろいろあるかもしれませんが、まあ我々のチャンネルではこれで最終回という風にさせていただきたいと思います。はい、というわけで、シリーズ通して最後までご視聴いただいた皆さんありがとうございました。またどこか別のゲームでお会いしましょう。お疲れ様でした。